Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on the GeForce GTX 1050 Ti for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using cam due to BattleEye, the anti-cheat software this game uses, so in the meantime I'll be using MSI Afterburner. And if you want to buy any of the parts of this build and help out the channel, there are Amazon affiliate links down in the description. So PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p, 720p and 1440p using both a G4560 and an i5-7400. To skip any of those sections of the video, check the description below. So first, for the G4560, I'll be trying 1080p with tweaked settings, which are my best settings to be between 30 and 40 frames per second. And then I'll show you the lowest setting 1080p with the G4560 to see if we can get 60 frames per second. It will be very unstable, as you will see in the video. Still playable, but I suggest using the tweaked settings I chose, since the G4560 has trouble maintaining 60 frames per second. Then with the i5-7400, I'll test 1080p, 900p, 720p and 1440p. The i5 wasn't perfect either, but it was much more stable than the Pentium. So it seems that the 4 physical cores in this game help a lot, so keep that in mind. On the i5 I was able to get 60s on 1080p with some drops, but on the G4560 it was much more unstable in that regard. But yeah, now I'm going to talk to you about the options menu, what to tweak to get the best performance, all that kind of stuff, so you can tweak it yourself. So this game runs on Unreal Engine 4, but remember this game is in early access and a very early stage of development, so performance should improve and more features should be added. And in the options menu we got some options that I would like to talk about. All options go from very low to ultra. So first on the aliasing, it seems to be TAA. Everything that's not ultra or very low looks terrible. I don't know what's going on with that. It looks fuzzier in medium than on very low. And the most graphically intensive things I found were effects. Effects is a big hit to the frame rate. It seems to control the quality of some of the transparency effects, such as explosions and the reflections. For example, if you're close to a body of water, you'll see screen space reflections in some areas. If you turn this to low or very low, you get a great FPS boost in those moments. Shadows is also another one. If you use low or very low, there won't be dynamic shadows. All the dynamic shadows won't be there, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of shadows are missing, but there are still some every now and then. It's a big hit to the frame rate. And then others that you should lower in groups are post-processing and foliage. Foliage is the amount of foliage and its quality. And I'm not 100% sure about what post-processing does in this game, but I lowered it with foliage and I kept motion blur off on all instances. And for the textures, if you have a 2GB video card, I suggest using low. Every option over low, even at 720p, use more than 2 gigs of VRAM, so keep that in mind. If you have a 4GB card, you can use ultra just fine, but something to keep in mind. I tried a Pentium G4560 and an i5-7400 on all my videos, and I have to say, yes, the G4560 is a big limitation. The game stutters a lot more in the loading screens and when you're flying over the map with a plane, or just waiting on a lobby with all the 90 players punching each other or shooting each other. With i5 it happened much less, and on the open areas and cities and all that kind of stuff, the places I tested, so it was more CPU bound. The i5-7400 stutters much less than the G4560 and it was closer to 60 frames per second, but 60 frames per second all the time in this game seems impossible. I saw people with i7 6700K having issues getting 60 frames per second, even using a GTX 1070 or 1080. So it seems to be impossible right now to get 60 FPS all the time, but we can get very close with the i5-7400. With the G4560 it's way more unstable, so I suggest targeting 30 to 40 frames per second if possible, and the game will be better to play since it will be more consistent if you cap the frame rate at 40 or 30 with the G4560. People are talking awful things about the performance of this game. It's true, but it's not as bad as people say, at least not on my end. It's decent, but it's not unplayable. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.